The following production is produced by the State University of New York College at Oneonta.
Good evening and welcome to another edition of Inside Red Dragon Sports. I'm your host, Geoff Hassard, Assistant Director of Athletics and Sports Information Director here at SUNY Oneonta. And as our spring season winds down, tonight we're going to talk to the baseball team as we welcome into studio head coach Rick Furchin and two players from our team, Dave Felak and Dan Randall. So please join me after the break where I'll be joined by tonight's first guest, Rick Furchin.
What makes D3 special is the ability to participate in my team and within the broader community.
The perfect ending to a perfect season.
Being a D3 student athlete has completely expanded my life.
I learned how to lead. I really found a voice.
What time is it?
It's more about the experience rather than just a sport itself.
Without the experience of being a Division III student athlete, I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
NCAA Division III. Discover, develop, dedicate.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is baseball coach Rick Furchin. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Jeff, good to be here.
Well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, real quick, graduated from Valparaiso in 1977, a long time ago. Was starting outfielder for 4 years there. Was fortunate enough to go spend a little time in the minor leagues with Pittsburgh for a little bit, and then went back to my alma mater and got my master's, worked under my old coach, M. Bauer, for a couple years, and then took over that program after he retired and spent 6 years there at Valparaiso as the head coach, and then moved on to Hobart and William Smith College, which is about 2.5 hours from here between Syracuse and Rochester, and stayed there for 8 years. And after that came here, and I'm just finishing up my 15th year here.
Now, Valparaiso, you were a walk-on in 3 sports. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
The reason why I went to Valparaiso is I was scared to death of college. I just didn't want to go to a place where I didn't know anybody. 4 of my classmates from high school were going to Valparaiso out in Indiana, so I decided to follow with them instead of going to either Niagara or Bucknell, which were my other 2 options.
Now, so the 3 sports you played out there, you walk on in football, basketball, and baseball.
Yes.
And 4 years of?
4 years of baseball, 4 years of football, 2 years of basketball. My height caught up to me.
Yeah.
So.
Now, well, because height withstanding, when we used to play the noontime hoop, I certainly can attest to the fact that you can still shoot the ball pretty well and handle the ball pretty well. So I don't know if height really was a main factor there. But what was it like to be a Division I student athlete?
It was challenging. Very similar to what the kids have to go through here at Oneonta. Maybe a little bit more demanding as far as time commitment is concerned from a D1 level. Yeah. But you just have to have better time management. Instead of only 2 hours of practice, it's more 4 or 5 hours commitment, and then work on top of that.
Now, did you ever think that you would get to the point where you would have an opportunity to play in the minor leagues when you first went to college? I mean,
I always hoped to. I mean, that was always a dream. It's something that you never want to take away from somebody. And same thing with the players here. I never want to take away that dream from anyone, and hopefully you work towards that, and if you get the opportunity, take advantage of it and do the best you can.
Now, how many years were you in the Pittsburgh organization?
2 years.
2 years, and what was that like, kind of traveling around and seeing other places that you had never seen before?
Again, it's challenging. Back then, we had school buses, in the short A, rookie league type situation, and that they don't have that anymore. They've got the coach buses, but it's still a lot of traveling, a lot of bus time, meal money, very similar to the college level. Right. As well, but now you're getting paid. You're getting paid to play the sport, so it's a little bit different.
You started the Division I level. Of course, that's as you said, the time commitment there, and maybe the emphasis is a little different than being in Division III. But your last 2 stops, Hobart and here, have been in the Division III. I mean, what about that philosophy do you kind of sync with that you think is good for you?
Well, both the Hobart and the Oneonta situation were programs. When I left D1, I chose to go to programs where I wanted to rebuild. I didn't want to go into a program that was completely established and winning. I wanted to rebuild programs. So it's been fun to watch, to recruit kids, because it doesn't matter how good a coach you think you are. The kids are what makes or breaks the program, and recruiting makes or breaks the program, and your assistant coaches make or break the program. And I've been fortunate enough to have two good assistant coaches in Tom Marks and Mike Lum. I've been very fortunate to be able to recruit quality athletes and quality kids with good character, to put that time into it, but also that extra time that we hope kids want to put into to become better. Right. And that's what's fun about Division III is because you have a time requirement, or stipulation I should say, for Division III, but to watch kids put more into it to get more out of it is I think very rewarding, to me at this level. Now,
When we talk about working out and doing that extra work, what kinds of things do you expect them to, be in the weight room, doing the extra running? I mean, are those expectations, and then the kids, like you say, that might take that a little bit further and do some things that maybe you don't expect?
Would I like them to do all that and more? Yes. Am I allowed to force them to do it and everything? No, just because of the NCAA Division III rules. But again, the kids that we're trying to get into this program are not only very athletic, but are committed to trying to get to that next level. I don't want kids that have to look over their shoulder being pushed by coaches. I'm hoping they push themselves and are self-motivated,
right,
to achieve.
Now, in the time that you've been coaching at this level, I mean, what kinds of things have changed, maybe in your own philosophy of recruiting, or maybe in general on how the kids come to you now? Is that changed, or is that a little different?
It can be, because kids have changed. You have to adapt according to, lifestyles of, right, kids and what they're looking for and opportunities, because, nowadays, to just be happy to be part of the team isn't part of the philosophy anymore. I mean, right, if kids aren't playing, they're not happy. And what we're trying to do is just try to get the best 25, 27 players here around New York State. We do recruit New York State. We saturate New York State as much as we can. I'm trying to get the best players, yeah, from New York State with good character to come here and hopefully develop. Right. And that's what I enjoy doing at Division III, is help develop kids, right, and hopefully give them that opportunity to go to another level and make our program at a high level, national level, hopefully, and I enjoy the recruiting aspect too.
Right, and to take advantage of what Oneonta has to offer as a institution as far as academics, and the kids that come here are certainly excited about our academic reputation as well, when you talk to them.
I think the academics has been huge probably over the last 6-7 years. When I first got here, all you do is sign your name and you were in. Nowadays you're talking about 89, 1100, to get in here, but I'm all for that because, to be honest with you, I'm tired of the high maintenance kids where you actually have to take them by the hand to go to class, do their homework, everything else. If you're good enough to get into Oneonta State right now academically, you really shouldn't have to be, pushed or made to go study, right, anything. They should be able to handle that themselves.
Right, the sky's the limit. I mean, as soon as they get on campus,
yeah,
they can do whatever they want. And we have seen that. Now, in our own program this year, we're having another great season. We just came off a double header split with Cortland, who is nationally ranked. Of course, a very big win. Dave Felak pitched an outstanding game, struck out 14 batters. Can you talk a little bit about what that meant to us as we get towards that latter half of our season now, trying to make the SUNY tournament, and just some general thoughts about how we're doing this year?
I think yesterday's win against Cortland, I think Dave said it good in the papers, that it's probably been the first year we've had a chance to beat Cortland. But I have a lot of respect for Cortland. Cortland's kind of the measuring stick that you want to try to compete with. I think them and Ithaca are the quality programs that you want to try to compete with. And the biggest thing with me yesterday, I was very proud of the kids, not only Dave, pitching and that, but it's how the kids responded to Cortland. Past years, they may have been intimidated and folded up ship, but they competed and they found that they can play, with anybody in the country. Obviously, right, the first game we won 4-1, but I was actually just as proud of them in that 8-6 loss, because past years when you're down 8-2, yep, we would have folded ship and we probably would have got beat 15-2.
Right.
But they didn't. They battled back, and that showed me that this group of kids actually learned that, hey, we can play with anyone in the country and we shouldn't be intimidated by anybody.
Right. Now, some of the other players this year, why don't we talk about some of the upperclassmen that are impacting our program? Of course, we're going to have Dan Randall on as well, who's having another great season, hitting almost 400 or a little above the whole season. I mean, what does that mean for you for those kind of players in our program?
Well, Dan started with me, and Dan's been here for 4 years. And I'll be honest with you, to survive 4 years with me probably is tough because we are demanding. I can be hard sometimes to be around certain things, but Dan's been a class act. He's been a hard worker. He's had an outstanding career. He's having another outstanding year. I can't tell you how many games he has saved us defensively over at first base with his ability to get the ball out of the dirt. Dan's been just a quality kid, and that's the kind of kid I want to have in this program. Someone who's going to work hard to stick it out, good or bad, over the 4 years. Scott Dubbin's another senior who has been here, 4 years plus because he had that redshirt injury, and he's having a very good year. And the same way with Carmine Caputo came here as a 2-year transfer, but he has really helped us out as well. And Steve Gawk is another one that's been with me from the beginning, and has really had a nice year this year, coming off a knee surgery. And his knee's still bothering him. He won't say that, but his knee's still bothering him on that. Brett Meserve was another transfer, 2-year player for us, who's been a nice addition to our pitching staff as well.
Now some of the younger kids that have impacted our program, we've had some freshmen that are starting and filling in as roles. What are some of the names of some of the kids that we might want to look for?
Well, Brian Murata is a catcher. He's been starting most of the games, splitting times with Mike Arcuri, but Mike Dakar and Mike Mascari, 2 kids out of Syracuse area who were all-state, very high-quality kids. And I think they're getting enough playing time this year to learn lessons that hopefully they'll learn what their weaknesses are now at this level, and to be able to improve over the summer and next fall to now be everyday players from that standpoint. We've got a very young pitching staff and a lot of sophomores that learned last year and are still learning this year, but are becoming better. So I'm very excited about the younger kids and that. But I don't want to think about losing any of the seniors. Possibly Dave too as well, which it looks like we will, which is fine. As far as he's concerned, that's something I've never tried to stop kids from in this program. I think every kid that's been drafted or signed here over the last 6-7 years really have been out of their junior or senior year. And just so people understand, as long as they can finish their junior year, if they have that opportunity to get to the next level, they get to the pro level a year earlier, a year younger, they'll always have their opportunity to come back and finish their schooling because they're only a year away. So it's not like they've stopped going to school, they're not going to graduate. They're going to graduate, they just have the opportunity to pursue a dream.
Right, and that's really what it becomes.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly hope that the season finishes the way we anticipate, make the SUNYAC tournament and get our shot again at Cortland and possibly make the NCAA tournament. Pretty exciting. We got a lot of home games coming up so people can come out and watch us. We certainly want to thank you for coming by today and talking with us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome. Well, we'd like to thank Coach Furchin for coming by tonight. And after the break, I'll be joined in studio by Senior Captain Dan Randall.
Thanks. You believe this guy?
Are you trying to start a wildfire?
Sorry. Pass the honey?
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is Senior Baseball Captain Dan Randall. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Welcome. Thank you.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm a senior this year. I'm from Salem, New York, upstate. It's actually right on the Vermont border. It's a small town. Played Class C baseball. Wasn't recruited highly out of high school. Coach Furchin did a very good job recruiting me. He was actually the first college coach that I received a letter from. And following a visit here, I felt real comfortable here with the area, with the school, and I came here and been loving it for 4 years.
Well, that's very good. It's good to hear because certainly you've been one of our best players throughout your career here, and certainly congratulations on all the stuff that you've been, all the honors and awards. So you said you weren't really highly recruited. You made a visit to campus. You felt comfortable.
Yep.
Is that kind of how it's been the whole 4 years? You felt real good about the program?
Yeah. Coach came to Salem to talk with me, and after talking with him, I felt real comfortable about coming here. And I was looking at a few other SUNY schools, but when I came to visit here, I came up, watched the game, hung out. I liked the town, I liked the school, I liked the campus, and it was really in between here and a couple other schools, but I felt most comfortable with here, and I don't regret it at all.
Now, coming in as a freshman, and you started right away. I mean, you played mostly right field as a freshman. We had a first baseman at that time, but you kind of switched off a little bit.
Yeah, we had a senior first baseman, Dave Paquette. He was a senior, he was a starter, and I started out the year DHing, and actually about halfway through the year in Cortland, we had an outfielder go down, and Coach asked me if I could play the outfield, and I said yes, and I made the switch from DH to right field pretty quick, and it's actually the first game I ever played right field was Game 2 against Cortland of a doubleheader, but I got my feet wet and got one fly ball out there, and I finished out the rest of the season at right field.
Now, what kind of a transition? I mean, going from like you said, a small Class C school to coming up to Division III. What kind of a transition was that for you?
Probably the pitching, because I had played some good teams in high school, but you really don't see consistently good pitching in Class C ball. So probably making the adjustment to that. 75 to 80 would be the typical fastball at my level in high school, and now right around 85 is typical. But I adjusted pretty quick, I felt like, and I knew I was a ball player, I knew the game real well, and I adjusted pretty quick, I thought.
So now, throughout your 4-year career, what kinds of things would you say maybe you've gotten better at, or been able to develop better skills at?
I think I've gotten better defensively at first base. I've gotten a little more athletic. Probably driving the ball more, power-wise. This season especially, I feel like I've been doing a better job of.
You got 7 home runs so far.
Yep. Overall, just like I said, consistently playing good baseball. You kind of mature over the 4-year period, and you know what to expect more. You're used to the pitching more. Probably the biggest pitch adjustment-wise from high school to college is a change-up, because a lot of high school pitchers don't throw a change-up.
Right.
So, that's probably one of the big things, and also hitting the off-speed pitch. I've been hitting the middle of the lineup for my 4 years here. I hit 4th last year, 3rd this year. See a lot of off-speed pitches, so I think I've made a good adjustment trying to hit those pitches because I see them so often.
Now, being a captain of our team, what does that mean to you, and being a leader for our program?
It means a lot to me. I've always been close with the upperclassmen. My 4 years here, I've had a good relationship with our captains in the past. I've always wanted to be one of those guys, and it made me feel good in the fall that the players vote for you, and earn the respect of my teammates, and then to be a captain was a real good feeling, and I've tried to do my best to lead both on and off the field throughout the season.
Now, are you a vocal leader, or just somebody that likes to kind of lead by example?
I like to lead by example, but during the games, I try to be vocal.
Right.
Maybe I'm definitely more vocal now that the season has started than in the fall or the off season.
Right.
I kind of let some of the other guys take care of that, but now that the season started, I try to lead by example, and my voice is heard in the dugout when I have something to say.
What kind of highlights can you talk about maybe during your 4 years here, whether athletically or academically?
Athletically, well, I know you talked with Coach earlier about the big win against Cortland a couple days ago. That was actually the first time in my 4-year career that I had beaten Cortland. I think or my class in general was like 0-8 or 0-9 against them, and that was a good win for us. That was, Dave threw a heck of a game, and that was a big win. Personally, 2 years ago in the SUNY playoffs, I hit a game-tying home run against Brockport, I think, in like the 8th or 9th inning, and that was probably the biggest home run of my college career, just because of the situation, and you want to perform so well, and especially being SUNYACs, you're playing for survival. That any game could be your last game, so that was probably the biggest home run I've had.
Yeah. Now, what for someone who's looking at Oneonta as a potential place to not only play any sport, not just baseball, what kinds of things, maybe the one or two things that you would say about the campus or the college?
The one thing I like about campus a lot is that everything's very close. There's like a circular, everything's in a big circle there, and you can walk from one end of campus to the other in about 10 to 12 minutes, so that's very nice. Teachers, I would say, are very good at working with student athletes. I haven't had a problem in 4 years with any teachers for missing class because of athletics or just helping. They work very well with you if you communicate with them,
right.
And that would probably be the one thing. Our field house is great. For baseball, when we get in there to practice in the winter, we have all 3 courts. Can pretty much do whatever we need to do. We have two full-size batting cages that we can drop down, and the facilities here are very nice, and everything's well taken care of here.
Well, that's good. Now, what kinds of things are you looking for as we kind of get towards the end of the season? We got some good big games coming up on the SUNYACs. How do you hope to finish out the season?
Well, we hope to. We've put ourselves in a pretty good position here with getting a win against Cortland. We have New Paltz and Oswego left. We expect to win those games, and our main goal now is to make the SUNYAC tournament, and then ultimately when we get there, win it. But the big thing now is just to start playing better baseball before we get to that point, because you want to have some momentum, and the main thing is you want to be playing good baseball going into that playoff atmosphere, so you feel good. And like I said, that's our goal, is to get to the tournament and play our best baseball when we get there.
Well, we certainly wish you good luck, and we hope yourself and your teammates can get to that point where we can compete in that SUNYAC tournament and maybe win it and go to the NCAA tournament.
Hopefully win it.
Well, thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank Dan for coming by tonight, and after the break, I'll be joined by junior Dave Felak.
WUOW 104.7 FM is the region's premier radio station, offering award-winning programming from National Public Radio and Pacifica Radio networks, giving you the chance to become more informed about the arts, information, and entertainment from around the country and around the world. WUOW is your community radio station. Join us and support the sound.
Welcome back to the show. Joining me now in studio is junior Dave Felak. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Well, good to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a junior from Burn Hills, New York. It's a small town right outside of Albany. Came here as a catcher and converted into a pitcher. Didn't even really pitch much in high school, but I've been pitching ever since, and I've been loving every minute of it.
Now, of course, loving every minute of it. Do you think not being a pitcher in high school has helped you now with, like arm situations?
Yeah, I think it helps. I mean, I pitched a little bit in high school, but I never had really any control or accuracy. So I would pitch, like, for example, I'd go out there one game, I'd start, like, strike one guy out or something, then, like, walk 3, then, like, get another 2 guys out. But it would just be, I'd be real inconsistent, and my coaches really never had any confidence in me, and I didn't have any confidence in myself. So pitching wasn't really my favorite thing to do, so I stuck to catching. But now, since I've been pitching here, I've been loving every minute.
Now, you say, so what convinced you to switch over to pitching? I mean, what was really the thing for you that
well, when first day of tryouts, Coach, I asked Coach if he wanted me to catch, and he just said no. He just said go right to the mound. And I didn't pick up a catcher's gear all year, and I just focused on pitching and have been improving, and it's been great.
Yeah, now certainly improving, I would say that's probably an understatement. I mean, you're certainly one of the top pitchers, not only in New York, but in the region. And certainly you've been followed around now over this. Every time you start, we have Major League scouts following you around. I mean, what's that like for you?
It's awesome. It's like nothing I've ever would have expected. Like, if someone were to tell me, like, 3 years ago that I'd be a Major League prospect, I would not have believed them. So it's great. I mean, it's my first time out was a little nerve-wracking, but now, since I've been pitching in all those situations, I've gotten used to it, and it's just like it's just a game of baseball. I've been playing it all my life, so once I get on the mound, it's like nothing's different.
So you can really do a good job now, kind of focusing in. I mean,
yeah, like yesterday when we played Cortland, it was I just like I just got right into my zone, like focused right on the game. Like, I didn't even see anyone behind us. Like all my friends and family were there, and really didn't notice them. It was just like I was in my own zone for like 2 hours. So.
Well, it certainly was a performance worth watching for those of us that were at the game, and it certainly was pretty special to be able to watch you perform, and not just yourself, but the whole team. I mean, I think we played very well yesterday, and it looks good going forward. What kinds of things are you looking forward to as we go towards the end of the season?
Definitely, our goal when we started the season was to make the SUNY tournament, and to be able to go out there and do what I can to help our team win is just, it's a great feeling, and knowing that any game can be won by anybody. It's just a thrill for me to go out there and pitch my game. And
right. Now you say, so do you think that there's, do you feel pressure to be the guy? I mean, you are the guy, we know that, but I mean, how do you think about it? How do you kind of put that in perspective to do what you do?
I mean, I kind of like the pressure. It makes me focus more. I kind of have to really concentrate more when I'm on the mound, but it really doesn't bother me. Like, some people it bothers, but once I get into the game, like, people know me as like a goofball off the field, but once I get into the game, I'm just a completely different person. Like, game day is a different day for me. It's like the night before I even get mentally prepared, so right. I've gotten used to it, and I love it now.
Now, I would say that that's probably, as we would say, a part of being an athlete, being able to separate, you know, like you said, I mean, you know, off the field, is it really, you know, your mannerisms or how you know, go about what you do because you're just being, you know, a kid or whatever. And so now when you get into the zone, like you say, that's it. It's all baseball.
Yep, exactly. I just put my headphones on and just get in the zone and just do my thing.
Now, I guess that would be one of the questions, like what music's on your iPod when you're getting ready for a game?
Lots of different music. The different artists, just like whatever gets me pumped up that day. Right. I listen to different things all the time.
Now, when you go through your pregame routine, what does it involve?
Well, I start by just getting a quick jog out to center field. Then we do my pre-practice, like high knees, like butt kicks, all that stuff. And then I just kind of start throwing lightly, short to long toss, and then go put my jersey on, come back to the mound, throw my bullpen, and then go right to the locker room, get pumped up, and go out into the field.
Now, baseball players, well, I mean, I guess you should probably say athletes in general tend to be superstitious. I mean, do you have to do everything the same way all the time?
Everything has to be the same every time I go out there.
Now, how many pitches do you think you throw just warming up? I mean, you know, in games you're usually somewhere, you know, around 100, depending on how the game is going.
Probably depending on how long it takes me to get loose. Like yesterday was a little colder, so I had to throw a little more in the beginning when I was warming up. But probably throw like 25 pitches in the bullpen, and then just probably 50 throws to get warmed up.
Okay.
So
now, and your arm has been reacting well. I mean, like you said, I mean, you've really only been pitching for 3 years.
Yeah.
So your arm, you feel, I mean, the off-season conditioning that you do and the things that you do between starts is all, you think that's been a reason why you've been able to stay healthy?
Yeah, definitely a routine is important for all pitchers, and I think the workouts and training I've been doing has really been paying off, and I'm glad it has.
Yeah. Now, well, we certainly, you know, obviously it has been paying off because, again, I mean, you're 5-0 right now, and we've got plenty of games left that we know we'll watch you pitch in, and we certainly wish you good luck with the rest of the season and whatever happens down the road. If somebody calls your name on, you know, whatever in June for the draft, we certainly would be excited. And thanks for coming by tonight.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, we'd like to thank all my guests tonight, Dave Felak and Senior Dan Randall, along with baseball coach Rick Furchin. And as our spring season winds down, we want to remind you that to check out our hotline and our website for all the changes and scores and results. And we'd like to thank you for joining us this week on Inside Red Dragon Sports, and please join me again next Monday.